In our news headlines tonight, His Lordship Michael B.B., Bishop of Boya, outlined practical modalities for his Christians as the Lenten season engages. He sends out a communique to this effect just recently. Women in Boya, ahead of the upcoming Women's Day on March 8, 2025, have held a conference. The conference took place yesterday, March 5. And it took place at the delegation of Women Empowerment and the Family here in Boya. And in sport, a 6-month suspension or sanction given to Fecafoot president Mr. Samuel Eto'o has expired, and the football icon will resume watching matches live, FIFA matches. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you all. Thanks for joining us in this edition of our newscast this Thursday, live from Boya in Cameroon. I am Jude Mbako Munyo. You just heard there our news headlines. We'll be back with full details and more. Good evening. You're welcome to Divine Mercy News this evening with me, Jude Mbako. Now, we start here in the Diocese of Boya. Recall that this Lenten season that started yesterday with Ash Wednesday, and in view of the 40-day long season of Lent, the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship Michael B.B., has addressed traditional Lenten message dated the 4th of March 2025 to the Christian faithful of the Diocese of Boya. In this report, Franklin Fomokong, seminarian here at ZMRTV on Pastoral Year, presents us some of the practical recommendations made or outlined by the Bishop in that communique aimed at guiding the Christians of his diocese towards the Lenten seasons. Let's have details in this report.
Lent, the season in the Church's liturgical calendar for reparation, conversion, and purification. A season where Christian believers heed to the summons of their faith to reconcile with God and each other while remembering the sorrowful passion of Jesus Christ.
It is a time of renewal. It is a time of cleaning the window of our soul, that God's grace may shine through it more brightly. All of us need this renewal, not just Christians.
In this regard, the Bishop of Boya issued his Lenten message dated March 4, 2025 to the faithful of Boya Diocese. This Lenten message featured several exhortations from the local ordinary, highlighting some of the pivotal practices characteristic of this season.
All the practices of Lent are geared toward recovering our identity as God's children, that we are sinners, but also that we have been graced beyond measure, that we have this hope in our hearts of one day living with God forever. Since God is all pure and all perfect and all just, He cannot entertain in His presence that which does not resemble Him.
Besides the traditional fasting, prayer, and almsgiving, the Bishop, in consonance with the Lenten message of the Holy Father Pope Francis, made some practical recommendations to faithful. Central to these recommendations was working towards God and our brothers without envy or hypocrisy, not letting anyone be left behind or excluded. This message summons faithful of the diocese to move in a spirit of conversion and brotherhood, to further bolster their spiritual preparation for the Paschal mysteries. Parishes, prayer and action groups, institutions, families, and individuals are informed of the diocesan Lenten pilgrimage slated for Friday, 5th of April.
Right. Thank you, Franklin Fomokong, for bringing to us that report. Now, let's talk projects that are ongoing in the Diocese of Boya ahead of the 75th anniversary celebration of this diocese. We have the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, where the scaffold and the ceiling is under completion. We also have the Bishop Pius Awa Memorial Pastoral Center, where beaming and the second and the third floor of the second floor of the third building is already under total construction. Eileen Sama from our newsroom has been very keen on the two giant projects that are ongoing in the diocese ahead of the 75th anniversary celebration. Let's have details in this report.
Construction works on the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Moliko continues on the ceiling, where the most difficult part, which is the scaffold, is finished.
We are at least impressed because for now we are finished with the scaffold, which is one of the most difficult work related to the ceiling. The scaffold is finished. We started nailing plywood yesterday by the site. So hoping that if we work well today, we will finish with the sites. Then probably tomorrow we'll start the main center point where every eye is looking on it. By tomorrow we are starting it, and everything being equal before by the end of the month at least we are trying to hand over the ceiling. Now after the ceiling we have to do about light touches on the painting because most of the staff work has dirtied the walls.
As the work continues here on the ceiling of the edifice, Christians of the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral now hold mass at the church's hall. Over to the pastoral center, the site manager of the third block explains what is ongoing.
We don't finish beam, concrete all the beam. Then a carpenter now he try for make this thing. It need is in there. But it is still need a plank then now. So it could take like about 1 month to finish all the work. But for we builder, we already finish all our work now. We wait na carpenter now, me finish all your own. Then now they start plastering. They will do now staircase now.
Nonetheless, Mfo Herman narrates that after the first and second floor, decking will soon start on the third and last floor of the conference building.
Now we don't finish decking for first floor, we don't finish second floor, we dey go up now for third floor of the conference building. So now we don't already finish for build with walls, with pillars, with beams. Now we don't frame with decking, where by next Saturday we will finish for deck with the third floor of the conference building. After the last decking we want to do for next Saturday, we get for being now the last floor where we not go deck them again. We'll build them now where we'll take a roof.
Whether it is at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral or Bishop Pius Our Pastoral Center, the contractors and their workers put in all efforts on a daily to meet up with deadlines.
Indeed, Eileen Summer, deadlines ahead of the 75th anniversary celebration of the Diocese of Buea that comes up in May this year 2025. Now let's leave the Diocese of Buea and take you elsewhere to Kumbo, where minor seminarians at St. Augustine Minor Seminary in Kituwum in Kumbo have been urged to abandon all distractions and hypocrisy amongst them during this Lenten season and embrace a core value of their formation, which is humility. This was during a solemn Vespers that took place in the evening of Ash Wednesday, marking the beginning of the liturgical season within the Catholic Church. Let's have details of this report with our newsroom reporter, Nadesh Nechume.
Dating back to a long-standing church tradition, the start of every liturgical season is marked by solemn Vespers, a time of prayer and reflection. The solemn Vespers are accompanied by the timeless Benedictine plain chant, including the chanting of the Magnificat, which helps set the atmosphere for deep spiritual engagement. During the inauguration of this Lenten season, the parish priest of Damvre spoke about the profound impact of the event. According to him, the calm and enriching atmosphere allowed the minor seminarians to pray and grow closer to God in a meaningful way.
It was quite enriching. The young people sang together with their fathers, and one felt like he was I really said next time if I have that opportunity, I will come with a number of mass servers. I'm sure if I came here with any of the mass servers, we will not miss being a minor seminarian. They made my evening a very good one. In fact, the whole Lenten season.
Some minor seminarians should have fulfilled and fortified the field from attending the penitential services. Their reflection emphasized the power of the event to strengthen their faith and commitment to the Lenten journey.
This is the season in which we mourn our Savior. This is the season in which we remember all His suffering. This is the favorite to our salvation. Without the suffering, our salvation will not have been achieved. Passe très bien avec la grâce de Dieu. Nous prions pour tous ceux qui sont dehors, pour nos sponsors, nos sponsoring, tous ceux qui nous soutiennent de loin comme de près. Nous prions pour eux et également nous leur assurons que la population, tous les jeunes séminaristes de Sam Skitirum se portent bien, sont en bonne santé. C'est la joie ici.
The rector of the minor seminary encouraged the minor seminarians to steer away from hypocrisy and to embrace humility, stressing that it is through such virtues that they can deepen their faith in Christ.
Full of weaknesses, that we should try as much as possible to do away with one thing that is an obstacle to our Christian life. Just one thing: hypocrisy. Hypocrisy abounds in our society today, and that's why I dwell on hypocrisy, because sometimes we pretend to be what we are not, and that we should just accept with humility what we are, and that would be the best thing to do for Lent.
As the minor seminarians return to their dormitories, they are encouraged to devote their time to follow the Station of the Cross and to practice the 3 pillars of Lenten season.
From Kumbo Diocese, we're happy to watch those images live tonight on the Divine Mercy Radio Television. Now let's leave the church a little while and talk the March 8 Women's Day that is coming this Saturday. And now we are told that a day-long women's conference held here in Buea, organized by the Regional Delegation of Women Empowerment and the Family, under the theme for this year's Women's Day, which is for all girls and women, rights, equality and empowerment. The conference provided an opportunity for the women to talk issues that pertain to opportunities, growth and empowerment, plus development of the women. The conference took place at the Center of Women and Family Empowerment here in Buea. Let's have our reporter Magdalene Wondo, who was part of that conference, in the upcoming report.
Chaired by the Governor's representative Elizabeth Mokete and the Regional Delegate of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Ediaga Lucia, the conference was aimed at reinforcing women on their rights and empowerment in the society, with several presentations focused on rights and empowerment for women and girls, a catalyst for growth and inclusive development in Cameroon, empowering women and girls on mental health, procedures to obtain marriage, death and birth certificates, amongst others, with questions and answer session for clarifications. Talks were also given on universal health coverage and the importance of this health package to women.
All about the health voucher, which has to do with the pregnant women and their children that they have given birth to between 0 to 42 days. So these women will benefit from 4 free antenatal consultations. They will also benefit from 1 ecography, they benefit delivery, they benefit even the postnatal care. So we really want the women to benefit much. And the children under 5, because these women are the ones who will be taking care of these children in case they are sick of malaria. But we will not want to accept that a child should die because of malaria, or a pregnant woman should lose the pregnancy because of malaria.
As a way of promoting a clean and healthier environment, women were empowered on waste management in their community. Dr. Titanji Beatrice talked more on the need of waste management in the community.
It was a good chance for us to talk, and I listened to the women too. They told me how they manage their dirt, and then we came down to the very important parts where I suggested that they should segregate their dirt into different categories so that it should be easy to dispose of them, those to burn, those to compost, those to recycle, and those to reuse. I think if they go home with these 3RC and implement it, we'll have better homes.
Other activities were carried out during the conference, like sketches, spoken word poems, and networking amongst the women. Mbedo Claudia, a visually impaired participant, expressed fulfillment of attending the conference.
Learned of the rights of women, and as a girl with special needs, differently able, I have learned that I should not stay behind. I have equality, the right to vote. I have the right to speak for myself. I should not be marginalized anywhere, be it in school, be it at home, be it in a society. So I have equal rights. I'm not a half-Jew. I have equal rights, but it doesn't mean that I should fight against men. But with humility, I should know and advocate for my rights everywhere.
Worthy of note is that the 40th edition of the International Women's Day is coming 30 years after the Beijing Conference, which took place in China in 1995, and women are all expected to come out in their numbers come March 8 for the celebration of the International Women's Day.
Right. Women's Day comes up on March 8, 2025 this year. I will be looking up to that momentous event. Let's take you over to something else, which has to do with the infrastructural development of the Southwest region, and we talk about roads infrastructure in Southwest region. Recall that the Minister of Finance, who was here a few months ago in Buea, announced that there was going to be construction work on the Bikoko Edinao stretch of road. We are told that officially the Senior Divisional Officer for FACO Division, Viank Mekala, has announced that the rehabilitation and construction works on the Bikoko Edinao stretch will start very soon. He made the pronouncements yesterday, the 5th of Wednesday, the 5th of March 2025, when he was at the TICO Council here in the Southwest region. Hilarion took note of what the senior divisional officer made mention of. He compiled details in this report that is upcoming.
The rehabilitation of the Bikoko Limbe Idina Road was the main agenda of the meeting held on Wednesday, March 5, 2025 at TICO Council. The Senior Divisional Officer for FACO Division, Vian Mekala, presided over the meeting that brought together stakeholders of different ranks. He has called on all the chiefs to sensitize their population. The chief administrator of FACO outlined that the meeting was imperative in order to clear the population's doubt.
In December, people were doubting. People were saying that they are not sure that the road is going to be effective. And it was good for us to come and be assured and to inform the population that works are going to start very soon. And this is why we have to invite all the stakeholders, the member of the commission, because they are already put in place the commission and the division, and the commission is headed by the SO. So for all the members of the commission, they're present, and also to talk with the population, to dissolve the population, to inform them the imminence of the work. So I was happy to see all the stakeholders present. The chiefs came because the chiefs have to receive the member of the commission, that's the commission and the field for the evaluation. To receive them, for the population to be aware, and for the owner of the property to be present.
The rehabilitation project to span for about 3 years will be handled by an Italian company. Antibonassa, representing this foreign company during the session, was Barrister Eno Benjamin.
It is expected that we should construct the road within the next 3 years, and it's 97 kilometers from Bikoko to Edinao, and you add another 14 kilometers. So it's around 113 kilometers of road, which will cost 121 or thereabouts 121 billion francs CFA. This money is supposed to be funded by foreign donors who will provide the money, and the company will just execute for the interest of the government. The roads from Bikoko to Edinao will be widened better than what they are now, but wherever they get into towns, there will be double lanes. Double lanes in the sense that a minimum of 18 meters wide. As of now, people should guard against building on the road, because some people, I see some houses are really on the tire.
The Lord Mayor of Tiko Council, His Royal Highness Dr. Peter Ekome Museso III, during the session, emphasized the importance of cooperation between the state and the local population. He has called on all stakeholders to embrace the challenges that will come with the rehabilitation, as the work is expected to employ youth across the division. The project, still to be launched in the months ahead, was announced by the head of state, President Paul Biya, in his 2024 end-of-year address to the nation.
Thank you, Hilarion Clinton. But we are going to stay with you this time around. In sport, you tell us that the suspension handed to Fecafoot President Mr. Samuel Eto'o has expired. The football player turned administrator and president of the Cameroon Football Federation was barred for 6 months from attending any match that involved the national team selection and organized by the International Football Association FIFA. Let us have details in this upcoming report once more with you, Hilarion Clinton.
Months down the line, Samuel Eto'o, the president of Fecafoot, has finally emerged from his prison. The former player, who has turned into an administrator, had been handed a 6-month suspension by FIFA in September 2024. The suspension was due to his conduct during the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup match between Brazil and Cameroon on September 11, 2021. Specifically, Eto'o, the former Barcelona star, was found guilty of breaching FIFA's rule related to offensive behavior, violation of the principle of fair play, and misconduct of players and officials. As of March 2025, Samuel Eto'o now has his clearance to attend all games. Michael Gomez, a seasoned sports analyst, is well knowledgeable in the details surrounding the suspension of this star.
Well, with regards to Fecafoot President Samuel Eto'o's suspension, which was one of the issues that sprung out following the Under-20 Women's National Team participation at the FIFA World Cup in that category out there in South America, I think sometime back in September 2024, we have to understand that President Samuel Eto'o was banned from being physically present at games and sporting events that concerns every footballing category of Cameroon's national teams due to that is his expressions and of course behaviors which were termed acceptable.
The suspension did not affect his role as president of Fecafoot. However, the sportsman feels that his charismatic presence was missed by the players.
When we look at his absence, sometimes brings in that context of joy, extra motivation, but this was somehow missing at the Under-20 men's AFCON qualifiers, which Cameroon is still hanging on the balance following the suspension of the Republic of Congo. And of course, we look at other major tournaments where his presence wasn't, that motivational presence, that charisma that Samuel Eto'o brings to every team. I talk about the Under-20 men's qualifiers for the AFCON. It didn't work out for Cameroon. They lost on penalties to the DRC at some point in the tournament. We only look at the African Nations Championship qualifiers where Cameroon had to sniff a win from a Central African Republic out there in the Ivory Coast, but coming back to the West region at the Quicon Stadium, they didn't really have that extra motivation reconciliation to stand on their 1-goal advantage, and eventually Cameroon will not be participating at that competition. We just rather had a good squad. I mean, Samuel Eto'o's presence, everyone would have loved to see him at the presence of the under-17 Lions, who did extremely brilliantly.
Mike Ngome further emphasized that following his suspension, the legendary star must learn from his mistakes.
But looking into the future ahead, I hope he's learned his lesson and see how things unfold for him as a football administration appeals or dissatisfactions with respect to match officials, like was the case from which the ban came. He has to look for proper means through which he could channel his disagreements or grievances, and going on forward, it has to those around him and his close friends, and maybe those who work under him will have to identify such issues, because he's actually not just a FECAFOOT president, but his presence, like I've said, brings motivation and of course spirit, considering the great footballer that he is.
Samuel Eto'o has been serving as president of FECAFOOT since 2021. Throughout his term, the highly rated messiah of Cameroon football has faced numerous challenges at every step. The question now remains, how fruitful will the rest of his term be?
We look forward to that, Hillary Clinton. Thanks indeed for that report. We're coming now to wrap up our newscast tonight. On a foreign note, that 16 people have been recorded injured in Mozambique as police fire on opposition protest that was led by opposition leader Venancio Mondlane. And it is in South Korea that 15 people have been accidentally injured as well during military training involving South Korean joint military experts and those of the United States of America. For foreign news roundup this evening, we have our reporter Bernard Asongnes. He is seminarian here on Pastoral Year. Let's see what has been happening across the globe in this upcoming report.
Mozambique's opposition leader has vowed to continue anti-government protest. Following these protests, at least 16 people have been recorded injured after Mozambican police violently dispersed a protest led by opposition leader Venancio Mondlane, the runner-up in last year's disputed presidential elections. Eyewitnesses and Mondlane's aides said the police fired live rounds at the opposition leader's convoy and anti-government protesters who joined him on the streets of the capital Maputo on Wednesday, 5th March 2025. The protest came as President Daniel Chapo, who took office in January, was due to sign a deal after talks with other political parties to end months of protests over the disputed elections. Mondlane, who has been calling for the protest, was excluded from the talk leading to the ceremony. As of now, his condition remains unknown and his whereabouts is causing concern among his entire team. And at least 15 people have been reported injured in South Korea this Thursday, March 6, 2025, after fighter jets accidentally dropped 8 bombs on the civilian area during a live fire joint exercise with US forces. The South Korean military said the training in Pocheon, a northeastern city of about 140,000 people near the heavily fortified border with North Korea, was in preparation for Freedom Shield, an annual US-South Korea joint military exercise that is set to kick off on Monday, March 10, 2025. The Air Force reports that 4 of the bombs misfired because one of the fighter jet pilots entered incorrect coordinates during the fight preparation process. The incident has left 15 people injured, 8 buildings damaged, including a chapel, 5 houses, 1 warehouse, and 1 greenhouse. The Air Force sincerely regrets the civilian damage caused by the accidental release and has promised to actively implement all necessary measures, including compensation for damaging, while wishing them quick recovery.
That news item there on our foreign page brings us to the end of Divine Mercy Prime this evening. Before we go, let us give you a quick reminder of stories that were top in this newscast. We told you earlier that His Lordship Michael Bibi, the Bishop of Buea, has outlined practical modalities for his Christians as the Lenten season engages. He sent out a communique to this effect just recently. Women in Buea have engaged a conference ahead of the Women's Day that comes up this Saturday, March 8, 2025. The conference took place yesterday, March 5, at the Delegation of Women Empowerment and the Family here in Buea. And in sport, you heard that a 6-month suspension given to Fecafoot President Mr. Samuel Eto'o has expired. The football icon can now resume watching matches live on the pitch, matches organized by FIFA. Once more, we appreciate your fidelity onto GMR TV, urging you to keep watching more programs on our television channel. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, notably Facebook and YouTube. I've been Jude Mbako. Same time tomorrow I'll be here with fresh news, but recall that you can follow us tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for our newscast and at 1 p.m. in the afternoon for more news. Have a blessed night. Bye bye.